I'm going to put up on the screen here a quote from Nobel laureate Paul Krugman. It's from X, and he really stepped in it this week. He posted that the war on inflation is over. We won at very little cost, and showed a chart of CPI, X, food, energy, shelter, and used cars. Gentlemen, he got killed on X. Did he deserve it?
I'll tell you what, when I first saw this post, I thought Krugman was being sarcastic, because it's either that or someone slipped something into Krugman's chamomile. Because if you exclude everything that people spend money on, of course, inflate. Like if someone said to me, "Hey, Adam, are you experiencing higher prices when you buy stuff?" I'd say like, yeah. And they're like, "Well, what have you excluded everything you spend money on?" I'm like, "Well, then it's been flat." So it doesn't, I don't know if this makes much sense.
Yeah, I think it's like the stupidest thing I've seen in quite some time from someone who's probably not as dumb as the chart would indicate. It's an interesting perspective, and some of it's led to, I mean, it's kind of this creep that I guess economic PhDs have been using for some time, trying to find new ways to define the market, where they went from headline inflation to core inflation. And essentially, they just pulled out everything that has higher prices than what they would like to see. And so if you look at kind of bankrate.com, they say that the average household spends about 60 to 65% of their budget on housing, food, and transportation. Those happen to be the three parts that they pulled out for this CPI equation. It's essentially like bringing a report card home to your parents and saying, like, "Hey, I got straight A's if it weren't for all the B's and C's on the report card." It makes no sense. Your parents aren't going to buy it, and neither apparently did the people on X. So I think that the economists need to stop trying to come up with quirky new ways to define things and just live with reality.
Also, it says the at very little cost thing is also very disappointing from Krugman. At very little cost. I don't know how much Princeton pays Krugman, but go talk to some small business owners that require loans to run their businesses. They are suffering, if not having to shut down completely. There's been it's not the global financial crisis type of cost, but there is a big cost to these rates. You just don't see it in large S&P 500 companies, but in small businesses, which is the majority of business, they're suffering, and it's really difficult right now.
I would argue you're seeing it in big businesses, but it's just been delayed because the Fed signaled for so long that there were going to be rising rates. So if you look at the UAW and the big three negotiations, right, no one's going to win there. If you look at the
Tesla is.
Yeah, well, Tesla, and foreign automakers, right? So no one in the U.S. is going to win from that.
Right.
You look at
consumers,
the Kaiser Permanente issue, right? Like no one is winning from consumers paying much higher rates to compensate people that feel that they need to get 30 and 40% increases in wages. So to say that there's no cost, it just shows that it's another academic living in a bubble and not understanding what's going on Main Street.
And don't forget the actors' strike. I'm really worried about George Clooney.